Welcome to another Ask Zenler. So in this workshop, what we're going to look at is creating a CTA block for Christmas. So Christmas and New Year is a great time because people are off for them clicking through and signing up to your site. So we're going to create a really nice CTA, a Christmas style CTA. It's going to have a form in it, and then we're going to reutilize that, and we're actually going to create a sort of greeting, a header greeting that we can actually use and put into our email template. So I'm going to be showing you two things today. So you can use the first part, and then we can quickly adapt the second part to actually have it work inside of our emails that we send out. So pretty exciting stuff. As we're coming up to Christmas, this is a great time for you to do this sort of thing and send it out. So the first place we're going to look at is Pixabay. So we want to grab a background image, and then we're going to grab something to put on top of it as well. So I'm looking at through these images, and you can just go to Pixabay and put in something like Christmas and think of a nice background image, something like this that would work quite well as a background image. I want it fairly plain, like something like this is really nice as well. And this will be work for our background image, the thing in the background. So the next thing I want to look for is I want to look for a cutout or a transparent Christmas, like baubles or something, to put into the CTA. So I'm going to come down here this time. So once I've downloaded my background image, I'm going to go in and I'm going to choose transparent here, and I'm going to click go. And this is going to give me images, but the background is all transparent. Now this image here is perfect for what I need to use it for. You can see it's cut out, and I can click free download, and I only need to download sort of 760 by 1280. That's going to be big enough for me to use. So I can hit the download and download that. So I've already done that. I've got my images already prepared, so I'm going to show them to you now. So these are the images that we're going to be using during this tutorial. This is just a background image from Pixabay, and I have that transparent PNG file which I've got here. So we're now going to actually create this inside of Zenler itself. So what I like to do here is I like to create a page to work on that's not published. So I'm going to add a new page here, and we're going to come in there, and I'm just going to call this something like CTA. Okay, it's non-published, so I'm not publishing it here, and I'm just going to use a blank page, and I'm going to click add. So this is going to open up the page editor for us to make changes. Now, because I'm just using this CTA and I can also save it out to drop it into other pages, I don't need a header and I don't need a footer. I'm just working on the CTA. For clarification, that's what I'm doing. Now, if you want to work on the live play page, you can, but you have to be careful and you have to test it all. So I think a good option is to actually work on a template page, save the block out, and then use it in the live page. This is what I do. So I'm going to click in here because I don't need the header for this particular one, and I don't need the footer for this particular one either, but I do need the blank empty block that I've got in there. Now guys, if you're putting it straight into a page and want to create an empty block, you just need to go to blocks and then need to go to empty block, and then you drag that empty block in there and it will give you this. So first thing I want to do is put the background image in behind this. So I'm going to go into the settings here, and we're going to go across to background image, and I'm going to select the image that I've got, which I showed you earlier. So I've already uploaded it for just to make it a bit easier for me. So now I've got that image in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say how many rows I want in this as well. So I'm going to click the row, and for this particular one I want my form on the right and I want my image on the left. So I'm going to go for a 50-50 size. Okay, now in the first one here I'm going to click an image. So now I'm going to be using this transparent image that we uploaded. So once I put that in there, we can see the background through it because all of this stuff is all transparent. It's a bit big. So I'm going to click into the rows here, and I'm just going to move this over a little bit here to make it a bit smaller, like that. Okay, and I'm also going to take this little bit of padding that we've got on the top here, and I'm just going to bring this right up so that it's literally 0 here. So I'm right up the top there. Okay, next thing I need to do is I need to add the text elements inside here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in here, and I'm actually going to create another row. I don't have to do this, but I can create another row inside. The reason I do this is I have independent control over that row as far as the padding or the spacing is concerned. So we got a 2 row here, and then I've got a row inside here. Now I'm going to add my elements. So I'm going to add a heading text 1, and we're going to go and style this. So I'm going to write in here Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So Merry Christmas, new line, and a and then Happy New Year, like that. Okay, that's lovely. So now I've got to decide on the typeface that I want to use for this. Now, because these are orangish, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back to the main block and I'm going to use an orange overlay. You don't have to, but you can. So under here, you're going to see I've got overlay. I'm going to click overlay and I'm going to go and select a nice kind of orangey color for this. So let's go really quite strong orange, something like that. That looks quite nice. And of course you can change that opacity in here if you want to. So I'm going to bring it up a bit. That's nice. And now I'm going to select the font. Now this takes a bit of time because you've got to choose a font that's going to work for you with this. Now first thing I want to do is make this white for one thing. So I'm going to make that white in there. Now I'm going to choose a kind of scripty type font. So I'm going to go down and we're going to choose a kind of scripty sort of font. And let me try to find something that looks good. Something like that is quite nice. I'm going to change this size and make it something like 55. Okay, and I'm also going to change the line height because it's a little bit too much space between these lines. So I'm going to change this to something like 45, a bit too much. Let's go 52. Okay, that's a bit better. And that looks nice in there. So now what I want to do is I want to do the next one for saying to join us. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to choose an H2. Generally for headings I use H1, subheadings I use H2, and for the rest I use text. So let's go in here and put the text in here for this. And I might leave this black. So join us in 2022 for our launch party. Okay. Okay, let's choose an appropriate font for this. So I'm going to go for something like Merryweather for this, I think. That looks quite nice. And then I might choose an italic. So maybe I'll do a bold italic. That looks quite nice. And I'm going to select black inside here. Like that. Okay, and I'm going to bring this down a little bit to sort of 24. Okay, that looks really nice. Now I need to add my form in here. So I'm going to go into here now and we're going to add a form. So what I want to do is I want to add a form in here, but I want it to kind of be level with this side. So I'm going to add a new element. I'm actually going to add a 3-column row in here. And inside this first column, I'm going to take this. Let's click in here. Let's move this to about there. And move this to about here. That's going to give me a nice line up with this. So now I'm going to add this element in here, and it's going to be a form element. So we're going to go down to the forms now. I'm just going to select the form, and that looks quite nice in there. So now I just need to style this button. So I'm going to go into this button now, and I'm going to put our launch party. Okay, now for the design, I'm going to be picking a outlined button here, and I want to make it white, and I want to round the corners very slightly as well for this. So I'm going to go down to a few things down here. I'm going to choose Merryweather for the font type, just to keep things consistent. And it's already at 24 point, but I might make this a little bit smaller, and say 20. Okay, that'll do. And then I'm going to choose, for the text color, I'm going to choose a white for this. Okay, that'll change to white. And the border color around the outside, I'm going to choose a white for that. And I will just increase that border thickness to about 3. There we go. And I'm just going to round those corners a little bit. So I've got this ability in here to do the border corner. And I'm going to put this in about 8. I'll just round those corners off. You can see there, matching the kind of fields that we've already got. And now I just want to change a little bit of the padding top and bottom for this. So I'm actually going to put this on maybe 10, and this on 10. That'll close it up a little bit and just looks a little bit better inside here. Okay, so that is that done. So we've created this lovely CTA now that will work. Now guys, if you've got it on a page for a CTA, you probably want to tag people coming in to know they've come in on this form. So I'm going to, in my tag under the settings for this, into settings here, come into the tag, and I'm going to put in here Xmas. I like to use capitals for this, 2022, and then I hit enter, and that's now going to tag them. If they fill this form out, it's going to be tagged. It's going to be tagged with Xmas 2022, so I know they've come in now. Or I might want to label it 22. Now it's always worth setting up a thank you page as well, guys, so you can set up a page and then you can do a link to that page, to the thank you page, if you want to. But that's how we can set up a CTA. Now the thing about this is we're going to make a few more tweaks to this. I'm just going to save it out to start with, and then we're just going to preview it because there's something we just need to tickle just to make perfect. So let me just click save to that. Make sure you do fill out your SEO details. We're going to come into this page now and have a look at it. And once we preview this page, once it's saved, let's just save this page out. We're then going to have a look at this in preview, and you're going to notice that this little line where the image is finishing, it would be really nice if it was just at the top there. So we can move this up. We can just use this. So I'm going to come in here and go to the settings tab in here, and I'm going to put a negative value in for the top. So I'm going to put a negative value in here. Let's start with 15, and it will move up. So I'm going to now move this to 20, which I know is about right, or 22 maybe, and it's now hitting the top perfectly. So I'm going to click save to that, and let's just have a preview of our block, and now it's coming straight from the top. Looks really nice. Now another thing that you might want to do just to make it a little bit better is to go into the gear icon and just add a little bit of animation. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a little bit of sort of fade down or come down into this. So I've got here where I can have this slide down and in, so it does that kind of thing, which looks quite nice. And then I might want to add a little bit of animation on the button, which is always quite nice. I'm going to come into the settings down to the bottom, and I'm just going to put in a pulse because pulse works quite nicely. So I'm going to put in pulse here, so it will do this, and I'm going to tell it to do that every 3 seconds. So I'm putting 3 in there. You can also delay it by putting it in there. So let's click now, save it, and let's just refresh this page and have a look at it. So we've got a little bit of animation going on now. You can see this has dropped in, and this is going to pulse like every 3 seconds. So just giving you a little bit of movement on the page. But I'm sure you agree this looks really nice. Let's look at this in responsive mode now. So I'm going to bring this down. As we bring it down, what you're going to see is it will jump down here, and it still looks really nice even on a mobile. So this works beautifully as a responsive CTA as well. Now of course, once you're finished with it and you're happy with it, you can then click the block and you can save this, and we can call it Christmas CTA, and then I'm going to click save. And now if you go into any of the pages you've got, you're going to be able to drop that page in. So if I go into my home page for this site, and let's find where the home page is, here we go, and I click edit, I'm going to be able to drop that in straight on the home page. So that's how we can create the CTA. Always test it works. You know, it's definitely worth testing this form works properly before you start. Remember, if you want to set up a thank you page, you can set a thank you page up, and that's all good. But now I've got this page open here. To add this new block in here really easily, just because it's a Christmas special, I can come into the blocks, jump down to our custom blocks, and you're going to see down here I have my CTA. I can just grab that, put that in there, and as soon as Christmas and New Year is open, finished, I can actually just delete it straight out. So I've now created this lovely block in here, and it's all going to work and capture forms, and specifically for Christmas. Now what about if we want to use this to mail out to people? You know, you want to say mail this out to people saying Merry Christmas, and almost use it like a Christmas card. We can easily do that, and we're going to be using 2 things to do this. We're going to be creating it, then we're going to be snipping it out. Now this is for PC, so you need to be able to screen grab part of your screen to be able to do this, guys. So with PCs and Windows, you can actually search your apps and search for what's called snip. okay? And you'll be able to use that to actually put it out. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to clone this. So I've got a cloned block down here, and what we're going to do is we're going to delete this out, and we're just going to say thank you. So Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's change this to all our amazing students. We look forward to educating you next year. Something like that. So you can put something like that in there. For this one I might want to bring this down a bit, and I also might want to take everything in here and move it to the top. So I'm going to go vertical alignment top, and we're going to have it like that. Just going to move a bit of padding for the side here. So I'm going to go left and right, just move this in a bit. So I'm going to move all this in about the same, 39. And that looks nice to me. I might make this bigger because I'm screen grabbing this to use this in a mail. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to put this at 65. Okay, that looks nice. And I might want to just bring this up a bit as well, 65 on the line height. So that looks really nice. So I'm going to save that now. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab this and we're going to put this into a mail. So exciting stuff. So I'm going to come back to this page and refresh it. And now we're going to have this new one come up down the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this in the window like this. And then using my snipping tool, I'm going to snip this little image out. We're going to use this inside our mail. So I'm going to type snip into my search apps. So it brings up the snipping tool. Okay, this is the snipping tool. We're going to click new. Everything's going to go dark. And we're going to click in here where we want to snip. So I'm going to snip across here. And this is what I'm going to include in my email. So that's what I'm going to include. I'm going to let go, and you're going to see it's going to save this. Now I can save this out to wherever I like. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to go save as. And now I can save it as Xmas header. Okay, like that. And I'm going to click save onto my desktop. So now I can send an email out. So if I go into my emails, so I'm going to go into email broadcast because I'm sending an end of year email. I can create a new broadcast, and we're going to call this Xmas Greetings 2021. Yeah. So whatever you like, and we'll create this. So we've got our stuff going in here. We're going to choose our list to all our contacts, or you can filter it out if you want to. I'm going to click next, and now this is where the magic comes in. So before I do hi whatever, I'm going to just do a little bit of an enter here, put the cursor back up the top, and I'm going to go into image. So now I'm going to choose that image. I'm going to upload that image that I put on my desktop. There it is, and I'm going to click open. And now, as if by magic, that's going to go in there. Now I don't need it that size. I can actually bring it down if I want to, if it's a bit too big. Also inside here I can center it as well. So the position I can just center here and click save. It's going to appear in the center of the image. Now you guys would probably put your logo in here as well, and you could edit this and put your logo in, but that is how we can get that in there. So now I can just put in hope to see you on new courses next year. And if you've made a lovely little button or something, you could link it through. Also remember that you can add a link on the image as well. So then I could send that out. So if I wanted a link on the image, I'd go to edit and then I'd link. So I could link straight to this CTA page. If I put it on my home page here, I could actually link to this page. So people would come here and then they would fill that details out. So you could link that to wherever you want inside there. Okay. So, and you can also apply a caption and you can title it. So it's always worth titling it just in case they've got images turned off in their email client. So you go Christmas greetings from Zenler. Okay. And Now if I save that, if the image doesn't show in their mail program like Outlook, it will say what the title of the image is. So it's really important that you put titles in images. So now we've got that, we can preview it, and of course you can send a test and you can send it out. So this is what people are getting. So you're able to create the CTA and also adapt that CTA to a different version and use that graphics inside of your emails when you send it out. So we really hope that you loved this tutorial that we did for you, and as we're coming up to Christmas, you might want to get busy, get creating this sort of stuff, send it out to your students, wishing them a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And of course, all of us at Zenler do wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We're going to see you in January, and there's going to be lots of stuff going on, lots of new workshops. I know Kevin's running lots of workshops, I'm running lots of workshops, Alice is doing her things. So lots going on for you as far as support for Zenler. So been an amazing year for us. We've really loved trying to educate you, and hopefully we're doing a good job. So yeah, enjoy, and I'll see you in the new year.